Good day to everyone listening today. Wherever you are, I want to welcome you. Whether you are at home, at work, or taking a quiet moment for reflection, thank you for being here. This is not an accident. Moments like this matter more than we often realize. And what I want to speak about today is something that quietly shapes every human life, something that touches every decision, every relationship, every choice. It is time. And more specifically, what the Bible teaches about where time is going and why it matters. This is what we call the doctrine of the last things, or eschatology. But don't let that word make it distant or difficult. This is about life. This is about meaning. This is about understanding what God has in store for the world and for each of us. From the very first pages of Scripture, we learn that history is not random. It is not meaningless. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That simple truth already tells us that life has direction, that history has purpose, and that nothing is left to chance. If there was a beginning, then there is also a path toward an end, and God is guiding it all. Time, according to Scripture, is linear and intentional. It moves toward fulfillment, and God declares the end from the beginning. Nothing happens outside His knowledge. Nothing occurs by accident. Everything is part of His plan. Now, I know that sometimes the future feels uncertain. The news, the events, the changes in our world, sometimes it feels overwhelming. But the Bible does not present the future as something we cannot understand. It gives us enough to live wisely today. God does not reveal the end to confuse us. He reveals it to anchor us, to show us how to live, how to love, and how to be faithful right now. Jesus spoke often about the future. He spoke not to create fear, but to encourage readiness. He described ordinary people living ordinary lives, sometimes attentive, sometimes distracted. His message was clear. The way you live now matters. How you act, the choices you make, the love you show, the faith you practice, these things are connected to the ultimate fulfillment of history, and that should guide us every single day. Scripture teaches that God is sovereign over all history. Nations rise and fall, generations are born and die, but God's purpose continues unchanged. The throne of God is never shaken. Even when events feel chaotic, God is working toward a larger plan. He is not surprised by circumstances, and He is not powerless. This is a truth that brings comfort. It reassures us that no matter what happens, God is in control. One of the central themes in Jesus' teaching about the future is watchfulness. Watchfulness is not anxiety, it is awareness. It is living with intention. It is understanding that our choices matter and that life is significant. Jesus urged His followers to be ready, to live faithfully, to remain alert. This is not about predicting dates or worrying about events. It is about preparing hearts, minds, and actions so that when the future unfolds, we are aligned with God's will. Scripture teaches that Christ will return. This is not symbolic or poetic language. It is a promise with real weight. Every eye will see Him, and every life will be affected. For those who follow Him faithfully, this promise brings hope and encouragement. For everyone else, it serves as a reminder that the choices we make in this life have meaning beyond today. The future will bring clarity, and we can choose to align ourselves now rather than waiting. Scripture also affirms the resurrection of the dead. Life does not end with death. Both the righteous and the unrighteous will continue in one form or another. This truth underscores the seriousness of our decisions, the value of our actions, and the importance of cultivating character that honors God. Our lives are not temporary experiments. They carry weight beyond the present moment. Judgment, as the Bible presents it, is not arbitrary or punitive for the sake of punishment. It is a natural result of God's justice. It is a demonstration that choices have consequences, that goodness matters, and that integrity counts. Accountability is not meant to overwhelm or frighten, but to affirm the significance of living faithfully. Life has meaning, and our actions contribute to the story of eternity. And yet, Scripture emphasizes hope. The Bible speaks of a new heaven and a new earth, of restoration and renewal. Brokenness will be healed, pain will be addressed. God's presence will dwell with His people in a way that brings ultimate peace and joy. Heaven is not a distant escape. It is the restoration of creation, the fulfillment of God's intention. Our lives now are meaningful because they are part of that story. Eschatology also teaches us about practical living. Understanding the last things is meant to influence the present. It encourages patience, integrity, humility, and perseverance. Faith becomes active, hope becomes resilient, and life is lived with intention. Knowing the story's direction gives clarity to each day. The Bible contrasts readiness with distraction. Readiness is not perfection, it is alignment. It is being attentive, intentional, and faithful in ordinary circumstances. Distraction, however, pulls us away from what matters. Eschatology reminds us that living in awareness of God's purposes transforms the ordinary into the meaningful. As we reflect on these truths, remember that the final chapters of Scripture do not end in despair, they end in invitation. God desires reconciliation, restoration, and relationship. The vision of the future encourages love, faithfulness, and truthfulness. It is a call to engage life wisely, to live attentively, and to walk faithfully with God. Living with awareness of the future shapes the present. It influences our choices, our priorities, and our interactions. Time is precious, life is valuable, and God's purposes are enduring. The doctrine of the last things helps us recognize that our days matter, that our faith matters, and our actions matter. So today, let us be attentive. Let us live faithfully. Let us love intentionally. Let us practice patience and endurance. Let us orient our lives toward God, knowing that He has begun a story that will reach its perfect fulfillment. Let us walk forward with confidence, not fear, knowing the one who began the story will bring it to completion. And may we all live in a way that reflects that hope, that trust, and that commitment to Him each and every day. Thank you for listening. May these truths guide you, inspire you, and encourage you to live intentionally in every moment that God has given you.